Hey guys, wanted to make a short video here. I have the Acura RSX Type S. I've been fixing several issues. One of the issues I noticed was having water in my trunk area. Now, I didn't really notice this as an issue until I removed my carpet and my tire. I had some weird clunking noises in the back, which happened to be a couple pieces that was sitting like from a tire stud in there, and some metal to metal parts that was left in the trunk that I had found. But let's not get off topic. The video that you're looking at here is to show where I found water leaking into my car. It was kind of hard to diagnose because the tail light gaskets were bad, so I had replaced those. And it's like $17 for you to order the gaskets online, and that will prevent water from getting in there, which some was. But the other spot that I had found after continuously checking in the trunk for water and tracking it was the seals above the driver's side and passenger side door. So in that spot there is a stress crack underneath the seal that goes from the top of the rear window and goes down underneath. So when you lift your trunk up, there's a spot underneath each corner and underneath the seal. So what it's doing is it's slowly working its way in and running down the frame body inside your car, and it's dripping right off this panel that lays up in your car, and it drips down into your trunk. So it's really hard to find. But what I did was, when it had rained, I had parked my car in the garage, and then I had took my hand and then I had ran my fingers up underneath that panel and found that that water was trailing all the way up to the top of my roof of my car. And I'm like, where is that coming from? I could not figure it out. So I had pulled my seals off from the top of my car, driver's side and passenger side, and seen the stress cracks from the body flex of the car. So what I did is to repair that was first clean both of the rubber seals that's on the top, make sure that they still work and make a good connection, and then I used some alcohol to go ahead and mix with water to clean the surface really good. Now once I got the surface cleaned really good, I went ahead and got some sandpaper, and what I did to reach in those little areas was to roll the sandpaper up really small, and that allowed me to squeeze it down in there and sand it. So I wanted to be abrasive with the area that I was going to be putting sandable primer on to fill those gaps, and allow it to adhere to that spot. So, and cleaning a toothbrush never hurts. I did use a toothbrush to clean in that gap, just an old one, and use the other end of the toothbrush with the rag to sort of push down in those crevices to get it real clean. And then after I had sanded it down with 400 grit sandpaper, I went ahead and used some rubbing alcohol. You could also use acetone. I wouldn't suggest using that, especially if you have a newer car or your paint's in decent shape. That will eat off the clear coat, but it's a great to use if you're prepping the car to be painted and you're not worried. It's the perfect thing to use on it. But I went ahead and used some alcohol mixed with water to clean it after I sanded down the area. You got to make sure you get all that dust and stuff off. And then once I did that, I went ahead and just taped the area. A lot of people use not toilet paper, but they use newspaper, to go ahead and mark the areas and tape it off so there's no overspray. Highly suggest doing this. I wasn't too concerned. I just used tape in a little bit of an area. My car's getting painted here at the end of summer, so it didn't really matter about the overspray, but I still was wanted to make a video and show how I did it and how easy it really is to fix this and fix your water leak. If you're throwing your hands in the air not knowing where it's coming from and you fixed your tail light gaskets. So the sandable primer you can just get from any hardware store or from AutoZone Advanced. They have it. It's not very expensive. But once you tape everything off, you just want to fill in those crevices with the sandable primer. Now, mind you, as you do it, it's going to take time to do this because you're going to have to do 20 to 30 coats of this. And it's the easiest way to do, because if you don't, that seal that has that clip on it will not clip onto the little screw coming up out of the top. It won't fit if you try Bondo or anything like that. It just won't work. So the easiest way to do this is with sandable primer, and that's what I used. So after you do several coats, allowing a couple minutes to dry between each coat, just continue to observe and look at the areas where you're trying to fill until it's filled pretty evenly. Once it's filled pretty evenly, what I did was just took a screwdriver flathead tip and slowly pushed down in those crevices to fill them in, because it's very pliable once it dries. It's not completely cured. So if you're just real slightly, just apply a little bit of pressure in those areas, it will smooth it out and make sure those crevices are filled. And then once you're done with that, all I did was I had a jar that I ordered off Amazon of clear coat that I used for fishing lures. That's completely waterproof. And I had some brushes you can order online for cheap. I have I think 200 disposable brushes that I use for painting fishing lures. And all I did was took that jar and just ran that clear coat over the areas that I had primered. And what that does is that allows it to cure and harden. And one, it will bring the color back out, and two, it will allow it to seal those cracks a lot better, because those are stress cracks in those spots from chassis flex, over time bumps. It's just where the cracks find, and it's the weakest part of the car. So putting a couple layers of that on there is always smart. Now, when you put a layer, you're going to want to put a layer on it and allow it 24 to 36 hours to cure, and it will be good. I would suggest going back over and putting a second coat on there, just for good measure. And as you do the clear coat, you got to be pretty quick unless you're using a spray can. The spray cans you can get, but it's going to be a lot tougher to be able to clear that area unless you use the clear in a jar, the liquid. That's what I would advise you using. So when you lay it on there, you've got 10 minutes max once you start putting it on there to peel the tape off. If you allow the tape to stay on there and harden with the clear, you will run the risk of pulling the clear off as you pull the tape. So you want to make sure when you clear it, 10 minutes after, pull the tape off. And then once you're done pulling the tape off, just hit the seams, because you'll see where the primer was and you'll see where the clear is. You want to go over the seams, the edge from the good paint to the new primer with more clear, so nothing gets down underneath it, and that will cure and allow it to set properly. All these things can be purchased at, like I said, AutoZone Advance for around 30 bucks, can of primer. If you needed that, there's sandpaper, 400 grit. I think you can order like I said, the clear, the jar. That was a little bit more costly. I had that already, so I think that's like 20 to 30 bucks for a jar of that stuff. But it's pretty simple to do. It doesn't take a lot of time. Just a couple hours of your day, you'll fix the water leaks in your trunk, and you'll be set. So I hope this video was helpful. If it is, ask questions. I just wanted to take the time to share with you guys on what I did to fix my water leaks in my RSX Type S. Thanks.